So today we're going to Anime North. And what Anime North is? Well, it is a 3-day convention that takes place in Toronto.
Basically a convention where people who are fans of anime, as well as people who are just a fan of Japanese culture, come together to celebrate, as well as buy, and also meet new friends. Anime North has a lot of panels, a lot of guests, a lot of dealers, and just many other great performances. So the first thing we did at Anime North on Friday, after suffering a long endeavor the day before picking up our badges where it was raining.
First place that we went to is the opening ceremonies. With the opening ceremonies, it brings so much hype and so much love to all the anime con goers that are very excited for the weekend. With the opening ceremonies, I thought it was pretty cool, considering that since we're back here again, it's really great to see old faces and really get to see some new bands and really a lot of cool new guests that are coming all over the world, including Japan.
And it's really cool because it gives first-time con goers and people who are coming repeatedly an opportunity to see what you can do at Anime North.
Now, my favorite part of the opening ceremonies was seeing last year's Anime North idol. Now, even though it's great to see her again, I still wish that Emma would have won. What I love about her performance is that even though she sang, she actually cosplayed and it looked really cool.
Now, my favorite part of the opening ceremonies was the group of performers where they're playing with swords and they're just flowing around with the music, and it's really cool. We didn't get to see the full performance that was shown later in the week, but we at least got a taste of it in the beginning, and it's pretty cool.
And plus, it got to a point where it was really intense, and I just really got into it. So that was pretty cool. And I'm just like, at the end, when they stop performance, it's kind of like a cliffhanger, because I'm just wondering what's going to happen next. I want to see more. So after the opening ceremonies, Chris and I, we went to line up for Nominichi. And oh boy.
Now, with our rule with Anime North now, we feel that the first thing we'll do is the closing ceremonies and the Nominichi. Now, what the Nominichi is basically an event where actual con goers can come together and sell their wares that they don't want anymore. When I saw that they changed the location of the Nominichi, I was kind of happy because it was on the other side of the building, and it was quite annoying because there would be people just walking by that are not going to the Nominichi, and a giant line for people just waiting to go inside. I'm glad that they changed it to the other side of the building, but it was pretty intimidating at first because we came a little bit later. We planned on going earlier, but just seeing the performances at the opening ceremonies, we just had to stay. But when we saw that line for the first time, we were like, God damn, that's a big line. And once we got inside, how big the line was just, it was as long as the entire building itself and wrapped around a little bit more. And it was pretty crazy because I understand that people want to get a deal, but damn, that's a lot of people for sure.
When I got into Nominichi, I thought, sweet, finally, I'm so excited that we got in. However,
kind of had a feeling on how it would look, and I was pretty much right, and it was pretty much a war zone. Everybody was crowding around tables. You can tell that people were rushing and trying to see as many tables as fast as possible because usually the items there sell pretty quick.
Even though that there's a lot of people, I still kind of hover my way through the crowd, kind of like a goon, just spying and peeking and trying to find my way, see if there are any good deals. Now, there's a lot of great stuff that I got, even though I'm kind of limited on spending my pocket money for the convention, which is kind of sad because I wish I could have spent more. But one of the main highlights of my pickups that I got at Nominichi was like a group of manga. It was basically the first 4 volumes of the Blue Exorcist. Originally it was $15, but luckily that person was willing to do 10, and for that I am very grateful. Now, I love the Blue Exorcist because one thing's for sure, The anime, which I watched season 1, it was pretty cool and I really got into it. Just seeing how the characters are and going from there, it's just really seeing the adventures of Rin and trying to have some self-discovery for himself and seeing where he does fit in.
Now, there was plenty of anime merchandise, but I was mainly looking for video games. A lot of those JRPGs that are on PlayStation is what I'm really looking for, and luckily I was able to find a few. Now, some of my favorite finds was seeing a couple of complete in-box Nintendo 64 games. One was called Dark Rift. Now, Dark Rift is a two-player fighter, and it's not the best game, but just picking it up for a good price, including the box, was definitely a sure thing to grab for me. Now, when I was at the table, I only saw that game, but the vendor told me that he had another game, and I asked him what it was. And he told me it was Castlevania 64. I was thinking to myself, oh my god, this is the opportunity that I can get my first Castlevania game on a console. And I was like, I must have it. But then he tells me that there's somebody that claimed it, and I would have to wait whether or not if they pick it up. And I was thinking like, god damn, I'm gonna lose this game, and I've been wanting this game for a while. Now, Castlevania 64 itself is not the best game, but having a complete in box was just really cool to have, and I knew I really needed it. So what I did is that I waited around looking through the other tables and seeing what they have, but while looking at the tables, I just had that game stuck in my head, like, I need to have this, I need to have this. So what I do is after 10-15 minutes later, I go back and ask him, see if he has sold it. And he told me that the guy hasn't come back yet, and he told me that if he doesn't come back in 20 minutes, it's mine. So I set my alarmer to make sure that to come back in 20 minutes, because I know that I need to have this game. Now, within those 20 minutes, I go through the tables again to see if I can find any other deals. And after that, I pick up a few games here and there. Now, one thing I had an issue with last year that I had an issue with this year is recording the actual footage of me getting it. Since there's a mosh pit of people just looking at things, I didn't feel right filming because I felt like I would have made them uncomfortable, but I tried to get a few clips here and there of me actually making the purchase of the game. But after those long, painful 20 minutes, I go back and, well, I ask him, well, does he have it or did he sell it? And he ended up actually selling it to me, and I was so glad. I look at it, it's a little sun faded, but that doesn't matter to me. Just having the box and the game and actually having the game itself is pretty cool, and I was very happy that I picked it up. Now, some other games that I picked up after that was Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. I've been wanting that game for a while, as well as Mario Kart 64, which is a game on the 64 that I've been longing to get because it's one of those childhood games that many people had and that I need. So after that, we go see the rave a little bit, see people dance and stuff. I'm not really the rave type person, but just seeing them having a good time was just fine for me. And after that, well, it was pretty late and I was tired as hell because I was carrying bags on bags of stuff that I buy, and I just wanted to go home after that.
So on the next day, on Saturday morning, I decided to wake up a little bit earlier than Chris because Chris wanted to sleep in after Naminichi last night. Turns out that he was pretty dead and he got all the stuff that he wanted out of it. So that's pretty cool. So from there on, I decided to head out early to the con, and I actually went to the panel. And this panel is about getting started on 3D printing, which I thought was pretty cool. Now with 3D printing, I've heard about it. I know you can make cosplays out of it too, which is pretty cool. I want to see how you get started and learn more about the basics of it.
So I didn't want to wake up in the morning. I wanted to go later in the day because I was tired from the Naminichi carrying all that stuff. I did get a good deal, but I made the sacrifice of getting really tired quickly, running around and carrying all this stuff at the same time. So after I meet up with Christina, we look it through the dealer's room and I see some art books that they usually have at the convention for a really good price. Nothing really that interests me, so we just moved on. And I decided to look at the figures, but at the same time, the figures are pretty pricey, and the ones that I was looking at, they didn't have the boxes for most of them. There was another vendor that did have some in the box, but I just didn't really want to carry much that day. And I was just looking more forward to the masquerade. So after going to the dealer's room, we decided to take a break, and what we encountered, well, we see an MyAnimeList performance, and it was actually pretty cool. They were dressed up as characters from Evangelion, and just seeing them spin and twirl, it's just, you get hypnotized by it, and it's really cool. I definitely really liked it, and mad respect to them for actually doing that, because, well, I don't think I'll be able to do that because I'll probably break the wire or whatever they were hanging on.
So after the dealer's room, we decide to line up for the masquerade.
Now what the masquerade is cosplayers and performers coming together to give us viewers a performance to see.
Not happening. This is not armor. What even is my special attack? Attack of the boners? I'm gonna fight with this? You are sadly mistaken. Now, I'm gonna go backstage and pretend that this never happened.
And it's really cool because there's a lot of great cosplays that you see. One of my favorite cosplays was the human version of Blaziken. And it was really cool because they were just twirling and doing these cool moves and just flowing with the music, and I thought it was really cool.
So the reason why that Anime North has to have the opening ceremonies and the masquerade and any other big cool events that they have typically at the North building has been transferred back to the old location due to the fact that someone else has actually booked the North building for their own convention during the same weekend as ours. Apparently it turns out, and you wouldn't believe this, it's actually the Conservative Party of Canada actually booked the North building of the Toronto Congress Centre during that weekend. As soon as I heard that the Conservative Party will be having their own convention almost at the same location next door to ours, apparently I find it quite funny because who knew that the world of politics and the Conservative Party will be colluded with the anime world? So that's pretty weird and pretty hilarious at the same time.
I thought it was kind of funny because the next day we're looking at our phones and we're seeing articles, the National Post, Maclean's Magazine, talking about the conservatives and anime. And when I look at the National Post, I see Twilight Sparkle, the first thing you see, and they're asking cosplayer, what do they think of this? If they do this, if the conservatives do this next year, don't book it around the same time because, well, it was a hell of a time just going across the street and them just honking at the con goers. I just thought it was pretty annoying. Yes, it was funny, but at the same time it was annoying. I have no issues with the political party. It's just that plan ahead a little bit and look if there's any events happening at the same time because, well, or else you're just gonna have to have a taste of what the anime culture is.
In terms of the masquerade, I really did enjoy it. It's really cool to see all of these great cosplays being able to come to life and being able to present to us. Well, I thought it was pretty cool. And one of my favorite entries in the masquerade was Pit. And I'm only saying that because I've been a big fan of Pit ever since I've been playing Smash on the DS.
So after the masquerade, we were tired and we were just heading home. There's a lot of people coming out at the same time wanting to go home as well. We went and ate and we just headed home after that.
On the next day, day 3. On day 3, well, Chris and I, we actually walked around the dealer's room for a bit. Considering it was the final day, we thought, hey, let's see if they have any clearance sales. But after walking around at the dealer's room, let's just say that Chris and I decided to take on a little adventure. Let's just say that Chris decided to do something similar as what he did last year.
Today was a day that I decided to do my own transformation, or henching, as some people would say. If you don't know what I'm talking about, last year me and Christina had this bet on whoever won in a game of Tetris, they would have to do something, and I lost and I ended up having to dress up. And that year I was pretty embarrassed, and this year Christina convinced me somehow. I don't know why I agreed to this, but I decided to do the same thing. What it is exactly? Well, I decided to be a very kawaii schoolgirl. Now this year, I felt like I shouldn't half-ass it. And what I did is that I went more with the makeup. I fixed the attire a little bit. I got shoes for this, and it was a pain wearing those shoes because my feet were dying. The added piece, the pièce de résistance that I added to this cosplay was my beautiful pink wig. And well, how did it all turn out? Well,
Came out of the washroom, I thought he looked pretty cute. It was pretty cool. Now, even though I didn't put any like foundation or concealer or anything heavy makeup on him, he still looked pretty cute. I find it adorable.
the makeup was fine, but fixing the wig, I didn't bring my brush to fix the wig, and it was a pain because I was in the stall in the men's washroom trying to fix this hair. And my god, mad respect to the cosplayers that wear wigs, because maintaining it is not easy at all. And well, when I was getting out of the washroom, my god, if only I could have recorded it, but it would have been awkward as hell recording in the bathroom. But seeing people's reactions, for a second they're thinking like, why is there a girl inside this washroom? And I'm like awkward as hell because I wanted to go look at the mirror. I do look, but when I'm looking at the mirror, I just see people staring at me. I'm like, my god, man, like, come on, there's other guys that are cosplaying as female characters. But I'm thinking like, did I pull it off that good? I definitely had some heads turning for sure. Now when I went out of the washroom, for sure heads were turning again. And I was already uncomfortable as hell wearing the wig and all this whole getup. So what Christina makes me do? Well, she makes me walk around and look through the dealer's room again. Even though we just went through the dealer's room and got some stuff. She makes me go again and look through things. And as I mentioned, people were giving me the looks. But either way, I didn't really care because I actually had a good time wearing it. I'm not 100% for sure, but I don't know. I just feel like watching all these animes and seeing other people do it, and just seeing other guys doing it, I just felt like, man, mad respect. And I felt like I want to do it as well. And having that mindset after walking around, it just proves that this convention definitely for sure is where everybody can express how they feel.
Now, my thoughts of Chris becoming a schoolgirl, well, I thought it was very cute and funny, as I said previously. But what I love about Anime North is that with Anime North, it brings people of all facts of life together. And I think it's pretty amazing how people can cosplay, because it is a form of self-expression and being yourself. And that is pretty cool. Because previously, Chris would never do it. But after last year, I think he has pretty much grown to love the idea of being able to crossplay. Or even cosplay in that matter, towards anything he wants. Now, in terms of the schoolgirl, well, his reason for it, well, personally, I just think that he watches a lot of anime, and he loves female characters, so I think it's understandable where he's going with it. So, after Chris's showcase of being a schoolgirl, Chris and I decided to head back to the hotel and see Anime North Idol.
What it is, well, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's where people come together and perform and sing and compete.
Now with Anime North Idol, there are really cool performances. There is some performers that came back from last year, and there are some newcomers, so that is pretty cool in itself. Now it turns out that there was one special contestant who is our favorite, and turns out that, well,
I was a big fan of my main girl, Emma. She killed it last year, but sadly she didn't win. But this year she had the crowd going. She had the hype men coming with their glow sticks, was flashing along with the beat. And, well, did she win?
This person is also going to be performing at the closing ceremonies this year and be welcomed back as a guest performer next year. Can I get a drum roll, please? Congratulations goes out to Emma Frew!
Yo, my girl won. Of course she won. I was waiting for her to win. And I had a feeling that after that performance she won, and she did. And I was so happy that she won.
And after Anime North Idol, before the closing ceremonies, I actually had the opportunity to go up to Emma in person and congratulated her. And that was really sweet. She's really nice in person. And Emma, if you're watching this, as I said before, congratulations.
So after that, we decided to go to the closing ceremonies. And well, it's definitely the way to end off the convention. Just hearing all the guests that came up and just the people that organized the event is really cool to hear. Because they do say some inspiring things and some truthful things and joke around about the Conservative Party setting up their event at the same time as Anime North.
And it was very sad. Because one thing's for sure, 3 days of Anime North cannot do it justice. We wish it can be 4 days. I'm still praying for 4 days, but what can you do? What I love about the closing ceremonies is that we get to see the taiko drumming band get to return again and perform, which is really cool. We also get to see the performers with their swords again, and that's pretty sick too. What do I think overall of Anime North? Well, I'm great that I was able to go, but what's sad about it is that I had to leave the convention because it is such a beautiful, safe, inclusive sanctuary where everyone can come in and get together. Now, it's like I said, it's a very bittersweet feeling. I wish it didn't have to end. However, it can be tiresome, but I still don't want it to end. Now, it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. Everyone is more than welcome to join us at Anime North. It's a great place where a lot of people can get together, and it's a really great place where the memories will just last a lifetime. And plus, there's always next year, and I can't wait for that because when I come to Anime North every year, it is one of my favorite expeditions. Now, will I be coming back next year for another con expedition for Anime North? Hands down, of course I would, in a heartbeat. Well, let's just say you know where we'll be next year.
So this year's Anime North, well, I thought it was pretty decent this year. I felt like last year was a little bit better in terms of masquerade-wise, but I could understand because some of the competition decided to take this convention out because they already won a bunch of titles in their previous convention that they went to, which was Costume Con. But overall, I came out like a fat rat, picking up a bunch of awesome things. And just overall, experiencing this all over again. This year was definitely memorable. Every year is memorable for me because, well, this is my first anime convention, and this is my 9th year going to this convention. And next year will be 10. Now, what we'll be doing next year for the 10th year for me, well, who knows, and you'll have to stay tuned for that. As I mentioned, this is a place where you can express and share your love for this amazing genre that came out of Japan and has definitely made a huge impact in North America. This is one of the largest anime conventions in Canada, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
My final thoughts at Anime North for this year, 2017. I actually really did enjoy it, from Nominichi to seeing my first panel for this year, which is 3D printing. And Christopher, what are you doing? I got to see a little bit of GCW, Great Canadian Wrestling. I got to sit front row, so that's a lot of fun. Enjoyed the masquerade, dropped by at the photo alleying, had a photo, thanks to Fujifilm. And yes, I entered the contest, which you guys can check out my photo on Instagram. And I even went to the Toronto Japanese language school, and that was really fun too. So I got a little taste of what Japanese classes were like. So I'll see you next year in 2018. Bye guys. Alright.
I don't know exactly what do you want me to say.
Your final thoughts, what you thought about Anime North this year.
These
Tell
shoes
me.
suck.
That
Don't ever buy these shoes. These shoes suck. They hurt it like fuck. I lost a foot.
the foot.
Foot.
Let's see the foot.
No. That's too R-rated for this channel. We're family friendly.
R-rated?
Yeah, man. I don't know. What do you want me to say? I came out like a fat rat at Nominichi. I got a bunch of good shit. Masquerade was alright. I liked it. It was decent. I give it a solid 7. It's the 9th year, so that's pretty cool. I don't know what else you want me to say, dog.
Excited for number 10?
Let's see what I'll do for number 10. Number 10, dog. It's gonna be hype. How legible you.
How's Becky? What does Becky think?
Oh. Don't be hating on Becky.
I'm not hating on Becky.
Well, it was hot today, so it was good. So I wasn't freezing with the skirt on, so it was good. Other than that, would I do it again? Well, I'll bring a brush next time for my hair, dude. That was pissing me off and I was stuck in the washer for a half an hour.
Buy a foundation and concealer with your shade.
More makeup next time. Who knows? We'll see. What do you want? I don't know what else you want me to say, dog. Yo, we done. Yo, get
We're
the shit out
done?
of my face.
What? You said we're PG friendly. Write down the swearing, you hooligan.
Yo, we out. Family friendly.
Alright guys, so like we said, that's pretty much it. We'll see you next year.
Turn that shit off. Get that out of my face.
And we'll see you next year on May 25th till 27th. Take care, guys. Yeah, let's see if I could get up close. See? We'll see you again next year. Take care. And may the power protect you.